Let's stay at Kiko-Romeo for a moment. And after completing fashion design studies in Rome, followed by years working as a designer in Barcelona, Scottish-born Mccreath took a 3-month break doing aid work in Kenya. Finding it fascinating, she stayed on for 3 years before deciding to go back to her profession and do trade instead of aid. So, in 1996, with the desire to help create jobs in rural areas and make unique, high-quality products for retail, Anne launched her own fashion house under the name Kiko-Romeo, which means Adam's apple in Kiswahili. She told KTN's Joy Doreen Bira about her big break.
My first big break as a designer actually working in Kenya, because I was working in the fashion industry in Italy, then in Spain, and I was very frustrated by, I don't know, I got fed up with the superficiality of fashion in the West. It was like you can never get enough. You just always have to buy. So when you're with creative people, creative designers in the West, it's very interesting, and it's like a fast-moving environment, and it's very inspirational, and people are very artistic, and that was a great ambience. But then what happens is you have all the retailers, all the people in the magazines and so on, and it's all just about selling trends and the latest whatever. And at a certain point, I ended up finding that quite empty, and I didn't find it fulfilling as a person. So I took a break, went to Angola for a year, worked in aid work in logistics with MSF, went back into fashion, and then I was in a job that I was working actually for a fast fashion house, Mango, and I was asked to go to India and cancel an order on technical grounds. And I just didn't like what I was being asked to do, and I didn't like why I was being asked to do it. And I just thought, no, let me forget this. So I came here to Kenya for 3 months to work in northeastern, in Garissa district. And I would say it was my experience working with MSF in Kenya, and particularly in northeastern with the Somali community, that really made me think, how can I use my technical skills in fashion to bring about meaningful development? And while I was doing this as MSF, we also funded the first symposium on development in northern and northeastern Kenya. So I was very conversant with the issues of the pastoralist communities, with Somali communities, because I was working in them as well. And it just gave me that kind of the drive and the desire to now move away from emergency aid and look at how can I use fashion as a vehicle for development, for realizing people's potential, and do this whole thing of trade, not aid. So I would say that absolutely was my starting point, because I'm very much an activist at heart, and I find it difficult to be motivated just purely, how would I say, it's not that I very much enjoy helping women transform their image, even men also. I've been doing a lot more work with men's fashion recently, and I love that thing of empowerment that it gives an individual. So that is something that in a fashion house in Kenya, and you have that interaction with the individual, that you can do that. What I'm not so keen on is just a huge mass market that's just about driving numbers. For me, I like to have more to it than that. So when I started my business, although I was based in Nairobi, I used to get a lot of tie-dyes from communities around Garissa. And I just, I've kept links with that community. And it's not only that community, I've now built links with communities all over Kenya. Also, through MSF, I was also doing work with the IDPs from the first political clashes in the early 90s. Because Kiko-Romeo is actually going to be 18 this year, in fact, this month.